Starting to set boundaries is scary AF. You feel like the world is gonna end. You feel like you're gonna be left with nobody. You feel like no one's gonna like you anymore. Isn't that kind of sad? It's kind of like a flag, right? Like, yo, my worth is dependent on how much I say yes and how much people like me. Hello, and welcome to Raw Honey with me, Christine. I believe that life is all about perspectives, so it's important that we choose ones that will help us in creating successful, happy, and peaceful lives. We all want it and we all deserve it. Here on Raw Honey, I offer real, raw, and vulnerable conversations with the intention to open up your minds to alternative perspectives that I hope can support you in all the best ways. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and dive into this week's topic. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for joining me for episode 5. I can't believe we're at episode 5 already, and I am so excited to get started on talking about establishing boundaries. This is big. This is really big. And I say this because I suffered from not knowing how to establish my own boundaries, being too scared to establish boundaries. As a recovering people pleaser, I recently learned how to establish boundaries, and let me tell you something, it's one of the most freeing things that I learned to do for myself. And ever since I practiced establishing boundaries, oh my gosh, I feel like I've taken control over my own life. There's a lot of juicy information on setting boundaries, and I really honestly cannot wait to dive deeper into this topic. So, setting boundaries, I just want you all to know, you all out there who know that you have problems with establishing boundaries, I just want you to know I hear you, I feel you, I resonate with you, I completely understand where you are coming from. And I know there are many of us out there who are struggling with learning how to establish boundaries. I get it. It feels uncomfortable. Setting boundaries feels uncomfortable. Usually when you have a problem with setting boundaries, you tend to do things that you don't want to do. You tend to not do things that you do want to do. You have a problem with speaking up about your likes, your wants, and your needs. You tend to leave yourself behind for the sake of others. People think that they've won some sort of badge of honor for being a likable person. For some reason, it feels good to know that people view you as, oh, she's so nice. She's so awesome. She always says yes. She's always down. But can I ask you something really? While I'm talking to you, my fellow people pleasers out there, I'm actually talking to myself. Like, really, Christine? You're doing all of this even though you don't want to? Also that other people can talk about you in a nice way? All for others' approvals and validations? Really? It's dangerous. I'm telling you, when you feel like you have this big old need for others to like you, people pleasers mask very well their need to be liked by others. I'm calling out all the people pleasers, aka myself. So from one people pleaser to another, let me tell you something. It is dangerous. It is so dangerous when you feel like you have the need for others to like you, because you start going out there and you start offering pieces of yourself that you do not have to offer. What is the antidote to this? Bro, learn to love yourself. Learn to love and respect yourself, because every time you're crossing your own boundaries, you're literally shitting on yourself. Not cool. Love yourself. You don't deserve to get shat on. No. Quit trying to live up to these self-made, man-made labels. You have a friend, you have a family member, you have someone, a coworker who asks for a favor, who asks you to do something, who asks you to hang out, who asks you to give a part of yourself, whether it's your time, a little bit of money, whatever it is. And deep down inside, let's say you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it not because you're a bad person, right? But it's because maybe you have other obligations. Maybe you're just not interested. Maybe it's just not for you. You don't want to do it, but for the sake of your friend, of your coworker, of your family member, you say yes. So you've just crossed the boundary actually that you never even established, right? It doesn't take you crossing your own boundaries and feeling uncomfortable to be considered as a good blank, to be a good daughter, to be a good friend, to be nice, to be likable. We don't need other people to validate us for us to feel good about ourselves. You know, how many of us can admit that the reason why we do what we do, even though we don't want to do it, is so that the other person can like us? Is that so that we can gain one more friend, so that we can prolong a possible relationship that's not even meant for us? You're killing a part of yourself every time you do that. Ask yourself, why does it matter so much to me whether the next person like me or not? Why does it matter? Do I really want to cover that shift for that person? The answer is no, but why the heck did I just say yes? Here's the thing, let's clear something up real quick. If you really want to do it, do it. But if you don't and you catch yourself not wanting to do it, then don't do it. You know, a lot of us also do things for others because we want them to recognize us for our greatness, for being kind. If you're going to do something nice, do it out of the own kindness of your heart, and don't do it expecting others to be nice back to you. It's for the wrong reasons. You can begin to resent that other person, man. I've seen many cases where people will go out their way. I'm talking about take the shirt off their back. Okay, when it's like negative degrees. I'm figuratively speaking here. They would take the shirt off so that they can offer it to the next person. But the intention wasn't innocent. It wasn't to do it just to do it. It's to be liked. It's wanting the next person to take a look at them to say, wow, that person did that for me. What a nice person. I like that person. And then like you almost expect them to feel like they owe you, right? So that the next time it's cold, you almost expect the other person to take their shirt off their back for you. But here's the cold hard truth. They don't have to if they don't want to. If you're going to do something, don't expect anything in return, okay? Do it because you want to. You know if you want to or not. Don't betray yourself. And honestly, if you wear that badge of honor for being likable, for being the first person to go to when you need a favor, for being the person most likely to say yes when a favor is asked of you. If you advertise yourself as that, then prepare to be taken advantage of. When people know that you don't have any boundaries, they will take advantage of you. It may not be in the most mean way. If they find that you're more likely to change a shift with them, to give up some of your time, give some of your money to them, your assets, advice, whatever, they will more likely take advantage of the fact that you're so nice. I've seen it happen before my eyes. I've seen it happen with me multiple times, and I've seen it happen to other people. And it's like, wow, girl, you really didn't want to do that. I watched you really not want to do it, but you literally shifted your whole life around, your whole schedule around, so that you could say yes to this person. And the thing is, you barely know this person. And the thing is, you didn't have to say yes to this person. You could have established your boundaries and it would have been fine. So be careful how you advertise yourself. If you have a history of not knowing how to set boundaries for yourself, starting to set boundaries, or even the idea of doing it, could be super uncomfortable. To be able to set your own boundaries really starts with being able to trust yourself and to love yourself. If you are a person who does not need validation from other people, then you wouldn't be saying yes whenever you want to say no, and then you wouldn't be saying no whenever you want to say yes. You trust yourself enough, right? You love yourself enough to voice your needs and your wants. You love yourself enough to speak up for yourself. So not having boundaries, honestly, is a reflection of how much you trust yourself and how much you love yourself. So practice saying yes to yourself. And you know something cool? When you start trusting yourself, when you start loving yourself, when you start setting boundaries, you will attract those who will see your worth. Trusting yourself, loving yourself means that you see your own worth. You know that you don't need anybody else to tell you you're worthy in order for you to feel worthy. And so when you start feeling that about yourself, other people will catch on. You'll start attracting people who will also trust you and love you and honor your boundaries. There are people out there who are good people who understands the value of boundaries, of personal boundaries. They respect their own personal boundaries. Therefore, they will respect other people's boundaries. A lot of times we make it a lot harder than it is. We feel like it's going to be the end of the world when we start setting boundaries, especially if you haven't gotten in the habit of establishing boundaries. It's okay. First of all, I'm 30 and I'm just barely figuring it out. Starting to set boundaries is scary AF. You feel like the world is going to end. You feel like you're going to be left with nobody. You feel like no one's going to like you anymore. Isn't that kind of sad? It's kind of like a flag, right? Like, yo, my worth is dependent on how much I say yes and how much people like me. So what you're trying to say is, if you're going to start saying no, then what? Other people won't like you and you're worthless? Let's reframe that perspective real quick, please. Let's please. If you want to do it, you will. If you don't want to do it, you won't. Simple. Learn to say no. Ooh, I'm reminded of this amazing quote. And it says, I quote, "People who have problems with you setting boundaries are those who benefited from you not having any." So if you start setting boundaries and you do end up losing a person or two or three or four, or a whole bunch of friends, guess what? You just weeded out some weeds. These are not people who belong in your tribes. So if you start establishing boundaries and they get mad at you for it and they call you out, they start saying things like, oh, you switched up on us, yada, yada, yada. You get to say, okay, bye. Okay, bye. Because guess what? I love myself. I respect myself enough to know when I want to do something and to know when I don't want to do something. And all I have to do is just tell you yes or no. And if you want clarification, I'll clarify if I want to. If you don't respect that, you get to leave. Because I don't need you in order to feel whole, complete, worthy, enough, loved, perfect. I am all of the above without the need for anybody else to feel that way about me. Bye. I establish boundaries because I trust myself, because I love myself. And I know that no matter how the other person will react when I say yes or no, it's got nothing to do with me. If you got a problem with boundaries, that's on you. That's not on me. Don't put it on me. Okay? No. As long as I don't hurt others deliberately, then their reactions are of no concerns to me. If I choose to cross my own boundaries at any moment, because we can choose to do that, right? We can choose to do that out of love. I really don't want to do this right now, but hey, you know what? In this moment, it calls for the need for me to show more love. And you know what? I want to. Even though I don't have time right now, I just feel the need to show more love in the situation. I don't expect anything in return. I want to do it out of the own kindness of my heart. So to all you people pleasers out there, one last note: don't be guilt tripped into doing whatever it is you don't want to do, okay? Or to not do what it is that you do want to do. It's not my job to remind you that if I don't want to give a part of myself to you in this moment, it's got nothing to do with you. It's not up to me, honestly, to make sure that your feelings aren't hurt. If your feelings get hurt because I said no, then honestly, that's on you. Vice versa. If someone says no to me and my feelings get hurt, that's on me. It's on me. And I get to work through it. Understand that people pleasing is a widespread disease. A lot of us are suffering through it. You are not the only one. The fear of judgment, the fear of rejection causes a lot of us to get into people-pleasing mode. So be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself, damn it. It's okay. Okay, to have that fear, to be fearful of judgment and rejection. But the cool thing is, you get to do something about it, my friend. Don't follow the crowd. Do what makes sense to you. Don't leave yourself behind. Don't forsake yourself just to make others happy. So get to know yourself, man. Get to know what you like. Get to know what you don't like. Practice saying no when you want to. Practice saying yes when you want to. And I promise you, it gets easier. I'm speaking from experience. Now it's a lot easier for me to say yes or no. I love you, and you get to love yourself. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. And I want nothing more than for each and every one of us to learn how to love ourselves and love ourselves so much and so dearly that we begin to effortlessly set boundaries, because we know our worth and we know our power. We understand our power, and we know that we don't need permission from anybody else to feel good about ourselves. We don't need anybody's permission to say yes or no. It's up to you, and you have the power. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 5, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you on the next episode for week 6. All right, have a lovely day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.